So I am having the honor to sit here with Her Excellency Dr. Justina Mutale. Thank you so much for taking the time to connect today.
Thank you, Alexia. It's a pleasure to see you and an honor to have you with us in London.
Oh my goodness, it has been an absolute dream. And congratulations on an amazing World Summit for Women and Girls.
Thank you very much, and thank you for your awesome contributions.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here. And we have this beautiful opportunity today to connect in person. And we're very excited because the Love, Peace, Harmony Foundation and Justina Mutale Foundation are going to start a more formalized collaboration with a little door opening to create a water well. So I'm curious, why would you share that it is important that we start with clean and fresh water to build a community?
I think, they do say that life is water. It's been said that 95% of bodies are water, and we need to keep replenishing it because we do sweat, people go to the bathroom, so we need to keep replacing that water. But it's more importantly, the water has to be of good quality. It can't just be any kind of water, because if the water is not pure, if it's impure water, then it makes the body ill. Then it leads to having a population that is sick or ill and has got so many ailments, and which is an unhealthy population. Then unhealthy population cannot develop a country. So we need good quality water, and that is why it is important that we do this project together to provide some water wells so that the people in the villages that we work with can have clean drinking water and, of course, clean cooking water and clean water to clean their own bodies.
Thank you for sharing that. I feel like especially people who may not have traveled to places like Zambia, or for example, I was recently in India and I was seeing places where there was not clean water. We sometimes forget how much in our day-to-day life we actually use clean water. You mentioned sanitization, cooking, drinking. So it's such something like you shared literally can bring us life. So I want to encourage everyone to make a contribution to this project. And also we have a long-term vision that goes even beyond the wells into building a school. And I'm wondering, why would this be important? Why is this impactful, for example, for this community to have a well in a school? And it may sound like a silly question, but many of us may not even realize, why something like that is really important.
Yeah, you're right that some people who've never been to remote rural places in very poor or what you call developing countries do not know this. For example, I remember during the COVID-19 when they said you have to keep washing your hands. Some people didn't even have the water to use to wash their hands. And also there was the choice of using the water that they walked such long distances to get in a small bucket that they can afford to carry on top of their head, to choose whether to use that water to wash their hands or use it for drinking, to quench the thirst or to cook the food. So that we have those issues, and also some people have water, but it's contaminated water, it's polluted water polluted sometimes by the mines and also sometimes just by the general environment. But also, they do say that education is the tool that can change someone's life. So it is important that the village that we are talking about, for example, has got within the 45-mile radius, there's no schools. There's never been a school, and there's about a population of 6,000 people living there. And I think 3/4 of that population are young people, and these children have never been to school because there's no school in the area. And if we are talking that we are now in the 21st century, we are in 2024, we've got 6 years to go to conclude the Millennium Development Goals, and there has been an emphasis on education in the Millennium Development Goals. There's an emphasis on achieving equality, especially gender equality. And in that village, the girls because they don't go to school, by the time they have their first period or reach the age of about 12, they get married because they haven't been to school. They don't, education also delays a girl getting into early child marriage, which is which is detrimental to the early child marriage, is detrimental to the community, and also onto the girl child herself, onto her own health, her own development, her own confidence. So when if we can give those villagers an opportunity to get an education, then we can change the trajectory of their life for the future generations of not only just that village, but of course the whole country as well, because there's that domino effect. When you educate those children from that village, they become educated, they go out into the world, they become positive citizens, and they contribute to the economy of not just my country, but also they contribute to the development of the whole world, because we now live in a globalized world. So when you educate those children, we are not just educating them for the village, we are not just educating them for that city, we are not just educating them for my country, Zambia, neither are we just educating them for Africa, but we are educating them for the whole world to profit. You never know where the next Bill Gates is, where we can find the next Bill Gates, and we never know where we can find the next Elon Musk or the next Jeff Bezos until we can give an opportunity to those children. The thing is that those children in the village, it's not that they are incapable, they have just not been given an opportunity to prove what they are capable of. And for me, I believe that every child has potential, and every child can succeed at something. You just have to give them an opportunity to stimulate their talent, to stimulate their mind, their imagination, so that they can contribute to the world. You know, they do say that if you judge a fish, the ability of a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will fail. But if you throw it into the water or into the ocean, it will swim, So we have to find what talents lie in that village, what is hiding in those villages that the world can benefit from.
Oh my goodness. Dr. Justina, just hearing you share, it is so enlightening, and it is also so inspiring, and it brings so much hope. I literally feel my heart opening, and I think a lot of people who watch this are going to feel the same, because you've connected the dots. You've helped us to see beyond even our country, our city, the village, into this global unification of humanity, of the world, which really is the way forward in order for us to really move through so many of the challenges we're seeing on our planet right now. There's a coming together. There's, really empowerment, and it's a realization of how much talent, how much brilliance we have in so many places on Mother Earth right now that maybe are just dormant because people have not been given the opportunity to actually flourish or to see their potential in its actualization. And that's exactly what you're bringing forward and what, we're aiming to do with these projects. And I want to thank you so much, because you embody that, and you have been working for decades to bring this forward, and you have impacted so many people's lives around the world. And it's just amazing. It's very inspiring and humbling. And, I think one of the things that you mentioned about the fish, it really was like, wow, and I wonder how many fish right now are trying to climb a tree, and we just have to throw them in the ocean. So thank you so much. And my question is, do you have any kind of final words for anyone who may be tuning into this video that you would like to share with the world?
Of course, and I do have a personal story in a way about the fish. Because when my country, Zambia, got its independence, our new government brought in a policy that every school-going age child needed to go to school. And so my father was working in the city, and all those people that were working in the city were told by their employers to bring out their children and take their children to school. My father at the time didn't have a child that was old enough to go to school. So they told them that if you don't have your own child who's old enough to go to school, you can bring a relative. My father had to go to the village to bring his young brother, who was, I think, tending to the cows and in tattered clothes and no shoes, and brought him to the city and took him to school. And what happened is that my uncle was so intelligent that when he finished his first degree at the University of Zambia, he was accepted at a university in Germany, and he became the first ever indigenous Zambian metallurgist. So when I talk about finding these hidden gems and not allowing the fish to climb the tree, I know what I'm talking about from my own family history.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, this is so powerful. This is like, this brings me to one other thing I wanted to share, which is a lot of people, we hear stories, for example, of different countries around the world, and particularly in Africa, of things like this where, a community needs water, they need education. And so there's this image globally that may be misrepresenting the richness and the resources and the talent and the intelligence and the beauty that actually exists within these countries. And we've actually had a lot of our community share about this, and particularly in the Black community, because they say, hey, show us in our glory, that in the beauty in you yourself, her excellency, a doctor, like so many people who are saying we want all aspects of us represented. Africa is one of the richest continents, if not the richest continent in the entire world. There is so much in the ancient history, in the indigenous wisdom and cultures, so much of the world, and many people even say humanity even started in Africa. So my curiosity about that is, what would you like to say to people about that part of Zambia and that part of the African continent that maybe doesn't always get as much of the light that it deserves, but that it's really starting to, and it's sort of inevitable that it will continue to?
Okay, like any part of the world, we do have the communities are almost like a pyramid. You have people at the very top who kind of have everything, and you have all these posh places, billion-dollar houses and all that. We do have those in Zambia. You'll be surprised that we do have a hotel that looks just like this, or even better, in Zambia.
Yes.
We have the most beautiful cars. Sometimes one person once, in talking about Zambians and cars and beautiful cars, said sometimes when a new model of a car comes off the assembly line, it comes directly into Zambia. So we do have all of those. But then also, Zambia is a very big country. According to the statistics, I think 65% of arable land is still inhabited, and it's still virgin land. But also at the same time, Zambia is a place where the modern and then ancient and cultural kind of come together. So we still have places where we have villages like the one that I'm talking about. Sometimes, in developing, when countries become very developed and there's especially economic growth and all of that, then you find that as they say in globalizations, there's the exploited, the exploiters, and then there's the untouchables, those that have been forgotten. So we still have a lot of villages amidst all the beauty that I've spoken about, in which sometimes Africa would like to show to the world that we are not just sitting in villages where there is no water. There are places where we have lots of running water, lots of modern stuff in Africa. But there are some people that appear to be forgotten, because even myself, when I visited that village, I was very shocked and surprised, because as far as I'm concerned, because when the government made the policy that way back in 1964 of every school going a child having an education, I thought every village had a school. Wow. I was surprised to find that this village now, in 2022 was when I visited it, they've never had a school in that village. So you will find all these pockets of forgotten communities, so to speak, communities on whom are left out of the current development that is taking place. But Zambia, on the whole, especially the capital city, is very cosmopolitan. When you go there, you will see what I mean. But also, there's like the forgotten places that I'm talking about.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and I love how you share like many places around the world we have this.
Yes.
You know, just even looking in Toronto, it may sound silly, but look at our indigenous populations, the quality of their water. Look at all these places wherever anyone's watching from. Really take a moment to look at your own country, your own city, and see who are the forgotten people. Where are the forgotten places? Because they're everywhere. And this is, I think, a big part of our mission, is serving the underserved communities and bringing that equality to the forefront of everyone's awareness and also the action of how do we make a change for that. So I want to thank you so much for taking the time to connect and for this amazing time in London, the World Summit for Women and Girls. I also want to encourage everyone to connect with the Justina Mutale Foundation and also get your book as well and read your book. And I'm so looking forward to our continued collaboration. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Alexia. Thank you. It's been a pleasure having you in London, all your contributions, and of course having this conversation. I'm very honored to be given an opportunity to share some of these things and also to explain just why I'm passionate about finding all those hidden gems so they can follow in the footsteps of my uncle, so to speak. Had my father never went to pick him up from the village, he would have just been one of those village people that you see on the posters when they show how poor Zambia is. But he became even richer than my father. He managed to send his children to very expensive private schools, which my father couldn't even afford to take us to. So you see, it's just because my father gave him that education. Otherwise, he would have died in the village, an old man with his back humped and never worn shoes at all in his whole life. So yeah, so that is what my passion is, and I know that it can happen. And also, I just wanted to talk about, when you talk about humanity, love, peace, and harmony. You know, in Africa we have a philosophy of Ubuntu, which says, "I am because you are," and there's an emphasis that the suffering of others is our own suffering, and that we can't be happy when some of us are not happy. And we find this in the world. For example, even when there are wars, there is a cost, both human and economic cost, both on the part of the victor and, of course, the vanquished. You know, those countries that believe they have won the war, they had to find extra money for their national budgets. And then they find back, and most of the time, if you look around, after every war, there's a recession somewhere. Yeah, so it's all those human costs that come together. So that's why it is important that we all live in this world with the philosophy of Ubuntu, and we all live in with love, peace, harmony, and unity as one big, happy human family. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, absolutely.